shrouded in darkness and obscured by deception from the big secret keepers. A burning question ignites in the hearts and minds of truth seekers. Why? Let's dive into the abyss of the unknown. Challenge the limits of our understanding.
This bizarre sequence of double killings raised great questions. Who actually fired the shot that killed Kennedy?
Pierce the veil of secrecy.
Cattle found dead and the manner of their deaths are a real mystery.
Anyone who is concerned about lead in the drinking water in Flint.
And venture into the realm of conspiracies and extraterrestrial evidence.
A huge explosion now, raining debris on all of us. We better get out of the way.
Let us consider the question, why the big secret?
All right, Truth Seekers, what's going on? It is Wednesday. I want to welcome each and every one of you to the High Strangeness channel. And of course, we're going to be talking about some great things tonight. Oh, I think it's great. It's a conversation that I wanted to have with you, and hopefully that you, the audience, all can get and participate in the chat on what we're going to be talking about, and that is the Galactic Federation. There's so much talk when it comes down to this and how they're here to protect Earth and all of these different things. So I got some video clips that I'm going to show a little bit from GAIA that talks about the Galactic Federation, you know, some minute clips, and then each one of these different species who's possibly supposed to be a part of it, or have they been impacting Earth and all of these things. And so we're going to talk about that because I think it's a strange topic, right? I think it qualifies enough for High Strangeness when it comes down to that. And so we're gonna get into it, and hopefully you participate in the conversation. Make sure you like and share all of these videos tonight. When it's over and done, post your comments. We want to do some interaction and everything else. And so in the meantime, real quick, I'll give a shout out to whoever's here already. We got the greatness of Melanated Brown in the house. Brown Laces in the house. D is in the house. Mumble is in the house. Mike, Renee, as well as It's Circle Time. Roderick Clementine is here. Alicia is here with us. Darrell is here. Judith is here. Rainbow is here. And Nicola is here. She hasn't been here in a while. What's going on, Nicola? But anyway, so we're going to be doing this tonight, and pretty much. And so I am sporting my Mala bracelet. And this is from the greatness of blah, 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 because she don't need to have everybody know and everything, all that good stuff. And I didn't even say it, but either way, I wouldn't even want her to say, I wouldn't even want to call Judith's name out because I don't want her to, you know, she's not that person that needs all these accolades. And so I'm not going to say her name. And, but anyway, I'm sporting my Mala bracelet and got my beads back because I actually broke these things, right? And I was just thinking about it right now. You see how I'm sitting here and they can get caught up in here. So I'm going to lay them up in here. But these for my great meditations, man, some tiger eyes crystals, the jade in the house, as well as the quartz crystal. But anyway, man, I put them out in the sun today, make sure they can get some new energy, sat them out there for a few hours. They got all hot, came back, put a little, sage on them, meditated with some new intentions to them, and we're rolling. I know I said her name. I know it was purposely done. I know. I know, but it could have been the wrong name. It could have been the wrong name, from that standpoint. But anyway, so let's get down into what do you all know about the Galactic Federation? Put it in the chat. I want some interaction tonight. What do you know about the Galactic Federation? And let's go beyond the norm. Oh, they're here to protect Earth. Okay, we've heard that rumor from day one. But do you know who's part of it? What races could possibly, or species, could be behind the Galactic Federation? What is their mandate? Why haven't they intervened anyway? Okay, so what are they waiting for? If we're not ready for to see them, are we not ready to communicate with them? But we do know there's other people out there that always said that they're part of the Galactic Federation and they are getting these types of messages. I get that message all the time, not from the Galactic Federation, but from people. I get people that call or email, hey, I'm with the Galactic Federation and we blah, 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 we do whatever. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Give me a badge. Show me your identification badge. Show me your private hen galactic, sea lead, colored purple, shake, galactic, indicator, communicating clap or something. Give me something to verify the fact that you're a part of some things that's up there in space somewhere hidden beyond our telescopes, beyond the James Webb and all that stuff. So I don't know. So we got some people. All right. So we got some honest people in here. Mamba says, I don't know anything about them other than what I've heard of. Right. I believe they're out there, somebody says, which is Keith. Brownlee says, I only heard but wonder who is part of it. So we're gonna talk about, I got 10 different or 8 or 9 different races. I'm gonna show a minute clip about each one, and we're gonna discuss each one of those. And so we'll discuss who is maybe supposedly be a part of this. And then there's some of these species that you're gonna see, and I'll use my new catchphrase, you may not believe it, that's supposed to be protecting Earth. Yeah. And and it's kind of weird because it's like, okay, let's get it from there. But anyway, it is the first of the month. And as always, it's offering time in the sanctuary or whatever. But anyway, up at the top, if you want to do any contributions tonight, please, it will be wonderful. We're not going to harp on it, but I'll leave it up there. And then as always, give you a shout out. I am working on a few things, I'm telling you. And we can do it. Someone says, hello, Roderick. Face blue droopy eyes. What is that? I don't know what that is. Airlines put me up on the Federation. Yeah, she's pretty cool. Yeah. And, we've had her here before. She's also part of Project Black, and we're going to be doing some seminars and stuff, hopefully coming up in 2024. So I'm working on all of that right behind the scenes. I'm excited. Really, I'm excited. I don't know if you all saw the video that I put up on Forbidden Knowledge last night. Okay. I had an opportunity to be able to take some of those experiences called, one in particular that came in, put it into a video format, kind of put a story around it. And I have a lot more that I'm going to be doing that is with. And then, but that, even though I used it in the video, if you saw it, I only played a couple of clips. That audio was probably 30 minutes long, original. And so I only used maybe a few minutes of it for the video. By tomorrow, that particular audio of that 30-minute call will be in the members section. Okay. And it'll be for the truth seekers and above. If you got $6.99 and above, you'll be able to go in there and listen to it. In fact, that's where since I'm getting so many calls from the hotline, some that are going to turn into video stories, all the rest of those audio files starting in a few days. So we'll probably put 4 or 5 of them a week in the member section. It's going to be great. The call I got last night was a guy that does crystal viewing or crystal something he called it. I forget just that fast. But anyway, he looked into the crystal and saw reptilians looking back at him and sent me some photos, by the way. And so I'm going to turn that into the video, but you'll be able to hear that particular call within its entirety. That was about an hour because we cover so much in the calls when I'm talking to people, but they all give me permission that you can use it. But I'm telling you, that's going to make the membership area off the charts. You don't want to miss some of these things. I'm going to start posting them all in there starting tomorrow. You'll see the first one. Second one maybe Friday or Saturday, and then every day, because I'm getting more calls than I can create videos. So anyway, let's get down into what we're going to be talking about, this Galactic Federation. Okay. So we got Tina Michelle, Tina Speaks TV in the house. So is that a YouTube channel we need to help promote, or what is that? Let me put it up here on the screen. I don't know. So anyway, so if you have a channel or something, put it in the chat. We'll see if we can send some people over there, okay? So we can support everyone. But anyway, Charles is in the house. Hey, Roderick, good evening. Yes, we can talk about this. All right, my brother. I need to be calling you anyway because we're about ready. We're about ready to put Project Black into motion. All right, so let's start the first video clip that's going to set up the Galactic Federation, and then we'll start going from here. Let's roll.
Is humankind on the verge of open extraterrestrial contact? And if so, is the current disclosure movement a first step towards revealing a collective of non-terrestrial intelligences working together within a galactic federation? For more than 60 years, alternative media has explored the idea of a galactic federation. From popular sci-fi shows to individuals who claim to be in communication with extraterrestrial intelligences, the possibility of a galactic federation as reality has been made more significant with its acknowledgement by the former general and head of Israel's Defense Ministry's Space Directorate, Chaim Eshad, when he publicly proclaimed, "Earthlings have been in contact with extraterrestrials from a galactic federation."
In December 2020, Chaim Eshad, who is a retired Israeli security.
All right, so there you go. And I talk about that Israeli guy all the time. Y'all know that. He the one who also mentioned that the ETs at some point is going to feel that it is time for them to reveal themselves, and they're going to do it no matter what we're worried about. Whether we're ready or not, they're going to make the big reveal. And so that means disclosure has a due date, right? But when you come down to the Galactic Federation, and when you hear all of this stuff, and we're being protected, and there are some groups, this has been around quite some time. And like I said, I've got plenty of messages on the back channels of people claiming, and I'm using that word, to be part of the Galactic Federation. And like I said, we're going to go over some of these races here within the show tonight. But at the end of the day, I still want to know what you think. And especially, I'm going to let the cat out of the bag. What really throws me the most is when we're going to discuss number 8 or number 10 different species, and when we get down to the insectoids and the felines, the birds, and it's just hard for me to imagine a freaking praying mantis that I see out on my tree have the ability to work my freaking iPad, my computers, and all that. Okay, maybe I'm thinking about it all in a primitive way because I'm thinking of it in more of a humanistic way versus using consciousness and all of these things. Maybe they're using thought and more of a stuff, but I just can't see it. I don't see the fingers. I don't see the you know what I'm saying? I just don't see the praying mantis, having that type of capabilities to do that. And I don't know. And maybe I'm thinking about it wrong, but you can put it in here and let me know. But I just don't see it that way. It's just impossible for me to fathom that. So let's get down to it. The purpose of the Galactic Federation, from what I hear through my channels, is there's some type of galactic group of beings of all different races, beings, blue people, green people, yellow, 3 eyes, 16 eyes, 2 legs, bipedal, whatever. But most of them are bipedal. And they all have this some type of agreement that Earth is the observation planet. Now, I've talked about it before, that a lot of people say that Earth could be this particular project planet, right? We are part of the project. And humans are being observed for years and years and years, and they're playing with our DNA and all that. I don't think the Galactic Federation is part of that particular genre where they're going to say, we're going to play with these humans' DNA. I don't think that's what they're doing. But I would say this, that they're supposed to be the protectors. And so how is this supposedly be happening? Let's get into the first particular race, which we all know who's out here, who's probably one of the most talked about stories out there. This is a minute clip. Like I said, I got 9 different species, so make sure you stick around. Some you may not believe that is controlling what we do every day. Let's go. Here's
Gray aliens, many originating from the constellation of Orion, are perhaps the most commonly encountered extraterrestrial species that we know. Named for the coloration of their skin, they're often confused with extraterrestrial biological entities, or EBINs, who are also gray in appearance. While there are several species of grays, they're most often described as having small synthetic bodies, hairless heads with large black eyes, and an individual consciousness within. These are the small beings also depicted in various historic artifacts around the world. To what degree are the Greys involved in the history of humankind? And to what extent might they be influencing our destiny as we look to the future?
Based on the
All right, so that's number one, the Gray, and y'all give a shout out to Big Noble Royalty for the super chat. Appreciate it as well. So let's just think about it. We've all heard about the Greys interacting with Earth. We've heard about the Greys abducting people, right? I mean, just against people's will. We've heard about stories of them doing testing on humans and all of this. We've heard about all of that. And then we also heard that they are mechanical type beings or robots or AIs or whatever they are. So their bodies are mechanical. Remember, we've heard those stories, especially when it came back from Roswell, New Mexico crash, when someone said it looks like, or other stories that I've read that they're just biological entities, which what they call EBINs, and we'll show them next anyway, or the next, I think is one of the other species. So those are the tall Greys. But the short Greys have always been folklore when it comes down to ufology, when it comes down to all of the stories, when it comes down to all of the stuff, because people talk about the Greys all the time. Now, it's hard to imagine some of you who are very strong and athletic people, women and men, and in between, whatever your pronouns are. It's highly unlikely that a 3-foot childlike size creature or alien or person, whatever, can take over a full-grown adult. But obviously, they have some type of technology. Most people saying they freeze you or put you in some state of unconscious thoughts or whatever, but they're able to take over the body very easily. But we also heard stories of people saying the short Greys were at some of these operating tables where they were inspecting these humans, but behind them were tall Greys, as though the short Greys were their servants or they were more in charge. We've heard this story all the time. But to think that they're a part of the Galactic Federation, and that was one of those things, that's fine. Now, I got my own idea that I'll share with you. So when you think about and there's other videos, in fact, one of the ones I just showed you goes into for details that these Greys are biological suits and that there's other species out there that rent these suits to come to Earth to get a human experience, or knowing that we are these barbaric type of species, so they don't want their bodies killed in the fray if they make a mistake. So hey, let's rent this avatar type thing and let's put ourselves out there. So supposedly that's what's supposed to be happening. I don't know. I'm not verifying it. These are just stories that I'm sharing with you, boys and girls, and you can take this wherever you want. So, but anyway, those are the Greys. So let me look into the chat to see if anyone is part of the conversation. Could the Greys be part of the Galactic Federation? That's my question for you, or what your thoughts are. And like I said, I got about 8 more species, but could the Greys, let's start there real quickly and we'll move to the next one. Could they be part of the Galactic Federation in your eyes, in your assessment? And I saw a chat. Yes, you were right. If they're here to be protecting us, compared to whatever, they're doing a lousy job. Now, that's because maybe we're under the impression, y'all listen up to me, and see if I'm wrong with this. Maybe everybody is saying that they're doing a bad job, or the extraterrestrials are doing a bad job because we have all these things happening within our world right now in all these different countries. But what if that's not their job, to protect us from us and each other? Because what if they're saying, let them be who they are? We're just going to protect them from some planet killer from somewhere else, or some other people coming from somewhere else and having some kind of world battle and destroy Earth and all of its population. Maybe that's their job, and we're not being grateful enough that we're still alive, the ones who are every day, and the decisions that we can make for ourselves is what we do. And they could be here just to protect us from another planet. The chat, Charles says, you have to think the outside box. They are real, and there is a Galactic Police Federation, and they patrol the galactic outer space. Okay. Nicola says, I can't interfere with our free will. And that's correct. We can't, they can't. But then we get that from more of a godly and spiritual side of things, right? That is our free will to be able to love and choose and do as we please. All right. But at the end of the day, we still think they're supposed to come and help us do some things. All right. Renee says she saw a UFO outside a window, made a machine sound. Think it's my dad ghost inside a UFO flying Saturday because his 2 pussycats turned 15-year-old Saturday. What the fuck? I'm sorry. What WTF? I should have used my censors because we may have some young kids in here. And y'all know I always tell you, put those kids to bed. But anyway, she said, what the and next time I'll be on point. All right. So, all right. Well, that's a good story. And as y'all know, we got our How Strangeness hotline. I got a call last night. I got another call. And I'm saying this again. If you don't have a membership that's $6.99 and above, that's the Truth Seekers. Upgrade it today, because starting tomorrow, this is the promise, I'm going to start uploading the audios from these calls, and I want you to go check out the video I did last night on Forbidden Knowledge, where I used the audios. That's kind of a style you're going to see that I'm going to be doing. I'll be loading up here. But that audio, even if you like what you heard last night, was only a few minutes from a 30-minute call. I'm going to put the call within its entirety, except the contact information. You'll hear the questions. All of my questions are the same to all of them because I got it all written out so I can put it in the storyline. You're going to like some of the stuff. Last night was an amazing call I got last night from a gentleman that does crystal gazing. That's what he talked about. And he's looking to those crystals and caught a reptilian looking back at him. And he took a picture and sent me a picture. And I saw the eyes. I'm telling you, I saw the eyes. I'm going to make a video on it probably over the weekend and post it here. It's going to be the next show. But the call, you want to hear it. All right, let's go into number 2. Number 3. Here we go, right here.
The famous UFO crashes of the 1940s, like the one in Roswell, New Mexico, are often associated with the extraterrestrials commonly referred to as the Greys. In fact, there was another gray-colored species who were involved with those crash events. They're referred to as extraterrestrial biological entities, or EBIENs. These incidents, while initially made public, underwent extreme measures from government and military officials to then cover them up. Between captured ET technologies and direct contacts with extraterrestrial biological entities, government documents exist that reveal the involvement of EBIENs within secret, undisclosed programs. What is our relationship with the EBIENs? And what do we know about their involvement with humankind?
In 1947, there was a crash in New Mexico near Roswell. Involved 2 ET crafts. One crashed near Corona, New Mexico.
All right. So now you see, once again, we're talking about the EBIENs. Now, the EBIENs are not like the Greys. These are taller, but they look like each other similarly. They got some of the similar features, but they're not as tall as the Greys, who are 3 or childlike, as most people report, but the EBIENs are taller. So once again, they come in spacecraft, which now reportedly, because we had 2 crashes in Roswell that he was getting ready to explain. And if you want to see that in its entirety, there is a free trial link to GAIA in the description. You could be able to go in there and check it out. Go check it out. But where I'm going with this is this. It was 2 crashes in Roswell, or near Roswell at the time in New Mexico. One they found some years later, the other one there on Matt Brazel's ranch. Remember the debris and all of those stuff. In Roswell, New Mexico, or Roswell, they found the little bitty grays, okay? In the other crash, supposedly it was another type of craft, and out when they got there, when the scientists and the it was 2 people, they saw tall grays, which now they call them Ebens. Linda Moulton Howe talks about them all the time, these biologicals or whatever they want to call them. But anyway, they call it Ebens. They are taller. And so maybe they was looking, but they found these things years apart, but maybe they were looking for their comrades. I don't know. But now we have 2 species, right? But in some cases, we hear stories of them being in the same room when someone have been abducted. But once again, we're talking about this Galactic Federation. We're talking about, are these particular species part of the Galactic Federation, and are they protecting us? And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I think we have to start looking past what is happening on our planet within a whole, or what we're doing to each other as humans, as opposed to, are they protecting us from some Dark Vader type craft that be coming to Earth, and then they intercept it and we never know that they saved our lives, like some movie. We're sitting here every day and they're out there battling like Star Wars and protecting us, and people losing their lives and jumping in front of a missile to protect Earth, and someone saying, I just want those Earthlings to live and I don't want nothing to happen to them. And, this kind of stuff. I don't think they're doing that. And I don't know if they care about us like that, but let's look in the chat. Jericho said, well, hey, Roderick, what's up? I really appreciate what you do, bro. Got to throw it out there. Hey, once again, if anybody finding value from what I'm doing tonight, support the show right there. Support the show. There's a Cash App there. Matter of fact, I don't even know if it's working. Nobody's tested tonight. Who want to be the first person to test it? Give you a shout out, let you know it's working. I'll get it here. And I say, you know what? The Cash App is working. I know somebody else sent me something the other day. It was $1, and it was like, it worked. And I was like, thank you. And I appreciate it. But I'm not saying you have to test it like that. Give it a real test. Give it a freaking push. Hit that cap. Make sure it pushes. All right. So Donna says Ebens have a goal. And I won't say, but the little grays are wonderful and work for the Ebens. So why won't you say what the goal is? We're in here together. Donna, London, come on. What do you mean you won't say? Or unless you meant to say you don't know, or you do know. But if you know, we here together. Okay. Share the juice. I think they protect Earth, not the humans. Okay, I'm with you on that, Joy. That will probably now begin to be my assessment, is that they are protecting Earth. I don't think that they're doing it no other way. Charles says they're looking at 4 powers of getting closer to using nuclear weapons, and all 4 powers have to be told to stop. We talk about this. We need to look at this, and that's why something to think about. But you know what? They could easily just come in and cut them all off and make a statement immediately if that's what they want to do. They see we're getting better and better at it. In fact, there was some type of notice giving the other day that the military have now created a nuclear weapon that's 10 or 20 or 50 times more than the one that dropped on Japan. Or, yeah, they just reported it 2 days ago. Obviously, we're advancing in technology in the nuclear department, and nobody's doing no undercover operations and stopping that stuff. This is something they need to do. All right, so let's get into the next people who are supposed to be part of the Galactic Federation. And you hear about these folks all the time. Let's go.
There is a Galactic Federation in our universe made up of various extraterrestrial beings. One group that is said to be a key member of this federation is a humanoid species from the Andromeda constellation, referred to as Andromedans. It's believed that in the distant past, humanoids, including the Andromedans, faced opposition from the Draco-Reptilians, a warring race of extraterrestrial beings in our part of the galaxy.
As a means of protecting themselves, the Andromedans, along with these other civilizations that were threatened by the reptilians, banded together themselves to form their own council. This is what we now call the Andromeda Council. This enabled them to work together in a great collaborative system. And to denote the workings of this group, they chose a symbol that we recognize looking a lot like the letter A, which is where we get many of the familiar A-shaped logos on Earth-based space programs. Eventually, this Andromedan Council became the base.
Now, what do y'all think about that? Okay, and first of all, y'all give Lakeisha, I don't know what your YouTube handle is in here, but anyway, y'all give her a shout out for pushing the Cash App, and Matt as well. Thank you for the contribution as well, and hopefully they keep coming because it is the first of the month, and the studio, the what we do, all of that for you comes due. Damn, I'm a rapper. I just rapped my first rhyme. All right, so listen. Yeah, did y'all see them reptilians? Them boogers are off the chart big, right? So the Andromedans, supposedly, we hear a lot of stories from them. We hear a lot of stories. Now, they're a little more purple. Then we got the blue people. We got the reptilians with the green folks. And then just, we're not seeing reminiscences of those stories now. It's just that we go back into ancient history and we're seeing things on the walls, old type of artifacts, all types of old communications, pictorial, of course, where our ancestors have portrayed what has happened in the past, and they all, from Indians on down to Africans on down to whatever countries, all have some type of historic pictures or some type of things that these different species have visited us. And we'll get into the Syrians as well. But when you think about it, the Andromedans supposedly are part of the Galactic Federation. Now, whatever they do, I don't know. Whether they look like, I don't know. But one thing is coming clear, if you have noticed now, that so far the ones that I have shown, there's no way they can walk the earth without us knowing and without us going. So that makes sense why they would say, hey, if I want to now go and experience this human thing, let me create some hybrids and let's kidnap some of these women and take them up here, or men, for whatever, and let's produce some hybrid babies. And remember, Mary, there was a lady who used to come on my Clubhouse, and she was saying how she had 10 hybrid babies, and the ones that can't pass for humans stay on a spacecraft, and the ones that can pass for humans, they introduce them into this human society, and that's supposedly how all that works. So I don't know, and I think at this time those are something to look at. And so once again, if you want to see these different clips in their entirety, this is an episode of Deep Space on GAIA, and they have 10 episodes, each one dedicated to each species that I'm showing you the minute clip. And there is a free trial in the link. Now, hopefully in the next day or so I can warn all of you that's listening, I'm going to put together a 2-hour series of all of these clips together, and I'm going to run them as a live, and you'll see the thumbnail where it's going to be some preview GAIA stuff, so that you can then watch a lot of these things. It'll be over an hour and so long of every last one of these snippets of all that, but in more entire. So it's going to be great, and I'll let it run throughout the weekend if I get it done before Friday, if not sometime next week. So anyway, so now we have the Andromedans. We already talked about the Ebens. We already talked about the Greys, and we talked about the Galactic Federation, which is part of our entire conversation. Are we getting some picture? If all of these different species exist, the question is, where are they? Okay. Why have they still chosen to be invisible, but yet, and I know after this show, I'm going to get a freaking email. Somebody's going to say, I'm Roderick. I'm part of the Galactic Federation. You know what? Just call me. Call me and Google Roderick. You'll find my number. I get calls all the time. I don't know how it's out there on the internet, but when you Google, you'll probably see my cell phone. It's been the same thing for years, but call me and tell me. and then give me your Galactic Federation decoder ring or your ID, or show me some baby family photos from when you were back at the crib chilling, drinking, Galactic Budweiser or some shit, just whatever, because I want to know, versus this coded talk, because they always do this coded talk. We're watching you. And I'm like, this is idiots. It's got to be. And I'm not saying that. I'm not, because God knows one of you who are listening right now or watching this later is part of the Galactic Federation, and you're going to wring me out to dry about whatever. So I'm not saying that all of the Galactic Federation drink Galactic Budweiser. I'm just saying prove yourself and show yourselves. How about that? All right, so let's get into, we just talked about the Andromedan, right? And this is something that a lot of people talk about from there. So before we move forward, let's do this real quickly and just get this out the loop for you. As you know, we, as always, let's roll it. Celeste is part of the family of what we're doing. So make sure y'all support and get your journals, okay? You can get your journal on Amazon, and make sure you do that. You got Linktree, and let's hit it up in there. And if you do get one of the journals, let us know. Like you saw, Body Electric Supplement show her book in the video the other day, and pretty much. And so I'm just excited for all that support. And if you got a business and you want to start running some advertisement here, get with me on that as well. Go to my email address, which is contact@whybigSecret.com. I still use the old email. Okay. So also, it's all going good. I've been getting my energy up, juicing, and doing whatever. So anyway, I know y'all don't give a shit about that. So, but anyway, here's the deal. We're going to get into the next one, and we're going to talk about it, and let's do it. Donna says, I don't know. Call me crazy, but let's do it on the screen here. I'm sorry. I don't know. Call me crazy, but our world is facing at least 2 extinction events. Would you think so by the way we act? No, I don't think so. Life has a way, and we know that now. We know that from all the events, we found a way from Enki and Enlil, the Great Flood, Anunnaki, to Noah's Ark, that story, on the way to where we are. So we have survived many extension level events. We have done that over a period of time. And I think that no matter what happens, unless it was something that came and just split us entirely in two, right? And just disseminate, just everything went to pieces, then I would look at that. But I wouldn't look at it as because we're going to destroy ourselves. And I have a strong feeling we're not that stupid, okay? Where that's the only control mechanisms that's been in place now. And I'll say this wholeheartedly. I'm not worried about any country besides the United States that has hundreds of those things, right? I'm worried about the one who's trying to get their hands on one. That's when you got a problem. Not the ones who got hundreds. The ones who got hundreds understand the philosophy and the destruction power. The ones who got one is the one who want to make a statement. And that's where we spend so much time trying to make sure nobody else make their first ones again. All right. So anyway, we aren't doing it. Our leaders are. Okay, that's cool. I'll go with you on that. Did you get my email, Beginning Journeys? When did you send me an email? Let me know when. And let's go. All right. So at this point, hey, Roderick, I can talk about it. All right, cool. All right. I'll open up the phone lines at the second hour, Charles. If you're still here, we'll get you on or something. So just let me know in the second half, and I'll get you on here as well. All right. So once again, I think my Cash App is broken again. It was working, but now it's broken. It's going to stay broken too. All right. So, all right. It's got to be not working. It has to be. And let me make this perfectly clear. Soon, in the next 90 days, you can just give when you want. Like I said, you know what I'm saying? It won't be like me sitting here asking. It's a lot of stuff coming into play, and thank God that this journey is about to get a lot easier for me and to give you better content. And so just surviving, making it through is the key. But I do appreciate the support that I get from all of you. Oh my God. If I have to someday win an Oscar and start crying and calling out names, it'll be a week long. All right, so here we go. Let's do the next one, and let's see what you think. Now, again, if you're just joining us, we're talking about the Galactic Federation. I've already went over 4 different races that we think this part. So you want to make sure you go back and watch this and then go back and post in the comments later when this live stream is over. But the whole theory of all of this, as I present who we think some of these races and species are, the question is why. And I think that hopefully by the end of this, that I get a few of you may tag along with me with the process of thinking, just because we think they're here to guard Earth doesn't mean that they're here to guard us from each other. And I'm thinking by history and how all that has been going on, there may be a little truth in that, because they're not intervening in what we think they should be. And so therefore, maybe their mandate, their mission, their whole thing is a lot bigger than what we can imagine. And most definitely why they won't present themselves, because we probably just can't comprehend the complexity of what's happening out there in this galactic thing anyway. We already know, we're saying there's billions of stars. If there's billions of stars, then we don't even know who or what has created this divine outside of what we've been taught, right? And do anybody know? Do we know? And it's always still saying that Earth is probably some young planet and not so older planet, and that we're just so primitive, maybe in technology. And as we're going to get to, it's hard for me to fathom the fact that we have some of these insects and animals that walk the Earth now. And where I'm going with this is, give me a show of hands. Give me a show of hands in the chat, some kind of way. How many of you have unintentionally stepped on a freaking, killed an insect? Maybe you killed a bug, or maybe a little lizard walk in a yard, or you had the exterminator. And I'm going somewhere with this. Help me out with that. Help me out with some of you who can understand where I'm going with that. All right. Thank you, Donna, for the contribution there and helping out. Charles, thank you as well. Summer, thank you as well. I appreciate it. I really do. All of that. And like I said, if it's not for some of you, some of you have no idea how, and Darrell, thank you as well, how difficult it could be trying to do this as a full-time venue and get better. But like I said, hopefully the video you saw on Forbidden Knowledge, you go back and check it out. I'm gonna start making more of those types, bringing in some. It's a new thing that we're doing and everything else. But anyway, listen. All right, look, I see some of you got your hands up. You done. So what I'm saying with this, Charles said he killed a fly, and everybody else and stuff, and you know the answer. So Body Electric saying, you know the answer. She done killed something. So what I'm saying is this. What if the reptilians, who looks just like the lizard, except they're buffed and they're on 2 feet, decide that they're pissed off, like the movie Men in Black, where the bug was getting mad because every time somebody squashed a roach, remember? And they would turn around like, what? And that's how Will Smith got it when he stepped on a roach, a little roach. And he was like, oh, okay, you want to kill some roaches? All right, I got you. Remember? Y'all remember that? What if that's the problem? And they come back and start saying, we're going to take aim to everybody who stepped on a bug, a praying mantis type thing. All right. So we got a big mantis that looks just like the little mantis, but yet he's able to guide some ships, supposed to be coming to protect us. All of this stuff. I cannot comprehend that. Okay. My hypocrisy only goes so far. I'm sorry. I apologize if I'm supposed to be this epic leader of reptiles and I'm not saying the reptilian stuff. I can kind of go with that because they're bipedal and they do have a human characteristics. And I've seen enough evidence of people that have verified their existence. Cueto Mato to get, I got all those videos, David Icke, I keep his stuff. Oh my God, I love his books. And I just got one of his new books too. Things that they don't want you to know. This big. I'm like, is that much sugar honey iced tea in there they don't want us to know? Jesus, man. So, but the whole point is, I just can't imagine from my own interpretation that a fly who's buzzing around over there, that I'm going to go squash, get a can of Raid, also on another planet, has a lifestyle, has a job, he's breeding, he's got a family of little flies, he's got a spacecraft, and he's coming to Earth, and he's going to protect us. Hell no. I could have played my other stuff. I don't think that I get that, right? In fact, to be appropriate to that statement, let's just kind of put it with this one right here.
Now, that was some strange shit right there.
So that's how I would put it. It would be some strange sugar honey iced tea if truly some bugs are flying spacecraft. I'm not saying that it don't exist. Because I know a lot of you have dreams and all. I'm just telling you, this is me only, not anybody else. Where we're going with this. Beginning Journey said, a couple of weeks ago, I sent an email about American woman living in Africa in a village encounter aliens. You sent it to me? All right, so send it again because I didn't see it. Yeah, I promise you I didn't see it. And I would love to know more about it. Send it again, contact@whythebigsecret.com. Put in a header somewhere from there because I do get some emails and I need to check the spam if it went to spam or something by accident. So, but I promise you, charge it to my brain and not my heart. I didn't see it. I would have definitely took that out. Rod, yes, I saw that. Okay, so but you get what I'm saying? We're talking about what if our animals, insects, plants are representation of different life forms in space? I believe that, okay, Jarrell, when it comes down to this, because there is a book that I sent to all of our researchers that they're made a lot of movies out of. We don't talk about it. I don't talk about it because I think there's a lot of truth in it, and where they actually have an alien in captivity and she explained everything out there, and one of the things was part of Earth being this project planet, and that all of these different corporations or rich people sort of speaks in the species out in the galactic all would have something they wanted to create, and they all created different things here on Earth, whether it's the plants, the birds, the bees, different animals, all the way down. Each one of these had money and say, I want you to create this. I want to create this. I want to put my stamp on Earth itself, right? And so that is something that has been floating around, and it's something to be looking at. I like I said, I don't know pretty much, but let's get back to it. If you're new here and you haven't put it in the chat, what do you think about the Galactic Federation? Now, we've all know one freaking story that they are here to protect Earth. Is there anything else that someone want to add to the conversation or to the possibility of some type of hypothesis? I didn't say theory because we're not able to prove it, that there's more things going on with the Galactic Federation. Are they a malevolent group of people or benevolent? I don't know. We want to, well, obviously, we don't see them physically harming us, but they could do it other ways. They can do it through consciousness. They could do it through test rabbits and all this other stuff. Rod, is your cash out working? Summer, I appreciate it. It stopped. I don't know why I keep stopping. We just need to keep it going. We need to keep it going so that it keeps going. You know what I'm saying? But it stopped. So we want to test the cash out. We got to test this thing every few minutes, right? I don't know what's happening, and I really don't know why, but we got to test it every few minutes, and that will be one of the things to do. Okay, so hang on a minute here. I'm trying to fix something here. All right, so anyway, we got to fix it. All right, so let's go back and show you the real questions. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. But I appreciate it, bringing it up to see if it is going on. All right, so let's get into the next one. Is this one right here?
Arcturus is a star system located 37 light-years from Earth and is home to many planetary bodies larger and older than our own solar system. It is the fourth brightest star in the northern hemisphere and can be found in the constellation Bootes by following the handle of the Big Dipper. Edgar Cayce, a renowned occultist and teacher, considered the Arcturians to be one of the most advanced races in the universe. From influencing ancient cultures to advancing technology on Earth today, it is said that the Arcturians believe in a higher state of being and have mastered many aspects of today's modern age metaphysical beliefs.
The Arcturians are an advanced race that actually have come to help humanity at this time. They're known to be, in ancient cultures, the shepherding mechanism for humanity.
From what I've learned.
So, okay, now we have the Arcturians. So we done talked about the Greys. We talked about the Ebens. We talked about the Andromedans. Now we're just talking about the Arcturians. We're going to cover the Sirians, the Palladians, the Reptilians, the Mantis, and the Felines. So we're going to go through all that as we continue. So once again, this is another race that has some type of implication, supposedly on history. Now, the question will be always, where did they go? And that's no different than us thinking about the Mayan calendar and what was happening with it back in the day, and all of those different things, right? When it comes down to, are there other species out there? So when we go back to the Mayan calendars, and let me bring that up, everything was 2012. You remember 2012 or whenever was going to be the ending. Of course, we had Y2K, 1990. I don't even know if any of y'all are old enough to remember that. But we had the Mayan calendars, and they were showing everything. Now, what really baffles me as an individual is, where did they go, right? Where did an entire civilization go? Now, if they caught a ride by some other galactic spacecraft or some travelers and took the whole freaking civilization with them, then we have to know that there's some other planet out there that's colonized with some Mayans or some type of human style species. But where did they go? And why is it so difficult for people to imagine that we was not the first people here? Earthlings was not, or humans, or whatever, because we got all these pyramids, we got all these reminiscences in science and artifacts and ancient civilizations that was here before we got here, predates anything that we know, but yet we still got people walking around, even in the church today, that will say there's no truth in none of that. The history of those items doesn't compel to what is happening in today's life. It's ridiculous. I don't get it, but I didn't when I was a child. I just believed what I was reading or what my mom wanted me to know. And where I'm going with that, I'm saying this is one of those deals. So let's go with this. Let's see what's in the chat. Damon, I've learned of them. They're exactly black. You're thinking blah, 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 but only learned of them from someone in Clubhouse. Yep, Clubhouse. And yes, blah, blah, blah. And all right, so Pam says she remember a few things as well. All right, Dana, that's fine. I was just going through the chat. So, but anyway, I'm saying as we go deeper into what we're looking at and what we're talking about, is it possible that nobody knows what the freaking is going on when it comes down to this stuff? Because it's just so much out there. And you know what, let me back up and stop that. There are some people that know. They're just keeping it a big secret, right? We just can't handle maybe some truth in what is going on and what is happening. But at the end of the day, once again, the Galactic Federation is supposed to exist and is here to protect us. But as we go further on tonight and show some of these other species and races, this is where it then turns with me to begin the process of saying, hold on, wait a minute. Maybe only because of my limited consciousness of thoughts and energy or whatever, I can only assume that the life forms that supposed to be capable of having technology and supposed to look like me, or if it's not like me, at least they're a different color. They're blue or purple or 18 feet tall or something. They're still built with the same formula, 2 heads and eyes and everything else, as opposed, once again, that there's a mantis or Bigfoot flying a spacecraft. All right. Okay. Chewbacca wasn't, I don't know what he was in Star Wars. I don't know what Chewbacca was. Anybody know what he was? But anyway, he could fly the Millennium Falcon or whatever, but he was that. So let's go into the next video and see what we got right here.
According to experts of ancient Egypt, the Sirius star system is aligned with the Queen's Chamber of the Great Pyramid of Giza and plays a significant role in ancient Egyptian mythology. It is also suggested that these beings significantly contributed to creating ancient Egypt, as well as other ancient civilizations around the world, where they served as the leaders and guides of humankind. What more do we know about these beings from Sirius and their influence upon humanity's evolution?
Sirius became a major star of orientation for the ancient Egyptians. It replaced Alpha Draconis as their pole star, essentially. They started aligning their temples to Sirius, and Sirius, in fact, was the only star worshipped by the Egyptians. They revered Orion.
All right, so there you go. And again, Jarella and Summer earlier today. Thank you. Y'all didn't see it, but while y'all was watching the video, I dropped my phone. Yeah. And I think I broke Cash App. So I need to test it and see if it's working again. Yeah. I think I broke Cash App. It may be broke. It may not, because it's not receiving. It's like or whatever. But yeah, we'll see. But I know, man, I'm just being funny. I got to figure out another way. Either I have to do a pole dance or something. I got the pole over here to as a fundraiser or something. I could do it and really do it. All right. So, and anyway, Sirius has been around quite some time. We've heard the Sirius star system when you go all the way back to the Dogon tribe, right? And so it's in our history, especially in historic history, that the fish people and Syrian in how the Dogon tribe had already knew the star constellation of Sirius B, or the second Sirius, whatever you want to call it. I just forget that fast. But the whole point is these stories was passed down from generation to generation to generation. And so they already knew what was happening in the future. And where I'm going with this is that I don't understand the fact that if these technical advanced races were visiting us at a time when we were had less technology, then, would things have speeded up? Why would we make a cell phone when somebody who visited us didn't use them anyway and say, hey, that's old news. We can just hit you like, ding. Yeah, you get me? You hear me? Yeah. Ding, ding. You get what I'm saying? But yet we go through the process of creating evolution of these primitive technology. And maybe that's just us advancing as a species. But the whole point is the history of all of these different species visiting us, or people, and supposedly to involve in mankind. Why don't they come today, though? Right? How come none of these that visited us thousands of years ago feel that they can come back and visit us now? Or maybe back then they was just put here to jumpstart us. I don't know. Maybe y'all can put some questions and answer that, and we can kind of get into that. But I just think at some point it is something for us to consider when it comes down to who is protecting Earth and where are they? Why don't they show themselves? And like I said, I've always come to the conclusion that they're not here to stop what goes on Earth. So if we think they're going to go over here and over to this other countries and stop what's happening, they'll prove that over years and centuries that is not the objective of whatever their mandate is when it comes down to the people on this planet, and that they're not going to intervene in our own destructions of things. And yes, I think what they would do if there was going to be some extinction level type event, they would probably come back like they've always done, pick up a few of us, preserve us so that things can go on once things clear up, put us in a place where they're going to continue to have us to procreate, to replenish the species, bring us back here and start the project Earth over. Yeah, darn, that may be the deal. I'm just talking, but could that be one type of the situation? It could be. I think it would be. But anyway, let's do it. Let's think about that. So what are your thoughts so far? You're seeing some of these different species. Do anybody in here know anything about the Pleiadians that you want to put into the chat? I'll bring it up. Do you know anything about the Arcturians that you want to put into the chat? I'll bring it up. What about the Syrians? Do you know anything about them? I'll put it up. What about the Ebens? If you know anything about them, yeah, I'll put it up in here. What about the Greys? Yeah, or the Andromedans, right? Or whatever. Do you have any inkling of these different species of what they look like? Now, there's a book out there by David Campese, I forget, and he has it's called the Extraterrestrial Almanac, if I'm not mistaken, and it's supposed to have 80 different species with types of drawings, which I have no clue. And he's been hit a lot about that. How did he even get the drawings to know what they look like? And so that's an amazing thing there. But he says there are 80 of these bad boys that's out here. So go figure when you come down to that deal. All right. Yolanda says maybe this is their time to come back. Give me what you're talking about, Yolanda. Who's going to come back? Maybe it's their time. Maybe I need to scroll up if y'all already talking anything. Recash app. I don't know how to tip or buy a sticker. Can someone explain this? You want to know? Boy, ain't nobody answered that chat. He was like, he want to know how to buy a sticker or whatever. I don't know, but Cash App is just up there at the top if that's what you're asking, Jane. But I don't know. All right. So anyway, Jane, please save a life, adopt an animal today. All right. So that's one of the things, though, you know what I'm saying, to really think about it when it comes down to this. And, you know, if y'all know the purpose of some of these particular races and what they're doing, I like I said, I don't have a clue. And I'm not going to claim to know who or what there are and what they're doing. But I will say that is something to really think about from there. So anyway, let's get into one of the next ones here. And we just talked about the Syrians, right? And so let's get into these people.
No other star system in our galaxy has been connected to more ancient sites and cultures than the Pleiades star cluster. Mythologies describe beings from the Pleiades who traveled to Earth through stargates known as pathways, where upon their arrival, they influenced and advanced civilization for the humans of that time. What is the Pleiadian influence in the continuation of our evolution as humanity looks to the stars and life beyond our world?
In the northern sky in December, people can readily pick out the Pleiades. You can find the 3 belt stars of Orion. Just follow that line, you're going to see a cluster of 7 stars called the Seven Sisters, or the Pleiades. Now, the thing about it is.
All right. So once again, like she just said, that there's never been a species or civilization or culture, unlike the Pleiades, that have influenced what has happened here on Earth. Now we know the Syrians more into the Egyptian culture, and then we have in the Mayans, I think it was something else. But all these different cultures, almost like they've had their own representative, which then can make you wonder, are we all descendants of different type of cultures? But I've heard that too. You remember the prophecy, I forget the name of it, that Samuel was here with the Theolothic prophecy. So y'all remember that as well. He talked about that. So Gerald, thank you for testing the Cash App. It came back to life a little bit. So a little bit. You brought it back. You gave it a breath of air. I mean, it said, when you sent what you sent. So thank you for supporting. But anyway, so what I'm saying is, the Theolothic prophecy, Sammy, and he gave out a free PDF copy of the book. So if you go back to one of the videos, I think I put the link in the description, and then also, once again, these clips that I'm showing is from a series called Deep Space, season 4, episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But there is a free trial link for us truth seekers in the description of this video. If you go back, you can hit it to GAIA and give you a free trial. Go look it up. Go watch those things. Even a free trial alone give you enough time and days to watch all of each episode of each one of these little first beginning of the clips that I'm showing. So you'll be able to watch that in its entirety as well. So definitely go check that out. You'll be doing that. All right. So the whole point is understanding, once again, are they here to help us? Do we have different types of species, watching over us? Kind of like a Coliseum type thing that we showed in the beginning of the Galactic Federation, saying, okay, it's like a Coliseum, they're all sitting up there and representations from every country or planet. And if that's the case, who is representing Earth? Is there some Earthlings that are called to the meetings, and then they stand there and they tell about, how we're eating too much McDonald's and they got to do something about it. McDonald's is going to, sell too many fries. I don't know if there's a lot of other things about whatever the purpose of this federation outside of what we know, because they're not monitoring our foods. They're not monitoring the air we breathe. They're not monitoring the water that we're drinking. They're not monitoring, each other and what we do to each other. They're not monitoring, I don't know, maybe, again, there's something bigger that we have to take in consideration for ourselves to know that is in existence when it comes down to what is happening there. So what are y'all thoughts so far of showing each and every one of these different races that I've shown? And I got a few more that now the story changes. It baffles me a little bit to say, okay, let's get into some of these. Can these particular species really do something with us? So let's get into one that we all talk about.
Throughout history, religious traditions around the world describe reptile-like beings who have influenced humankind. Etched into stone on ancient Egyptian megaliths, to verses written in the Bible, reptilian entities interacting with humans are clearly depicted. Could these historic accounts be describing a race of reptilian extraterrestrials? If so, what do we know about these beings? And more importantly, is their influence still with us today?
The first depiction we have of a reptilian-like or serpent-headed-like being comes from the ancient Sumerian civilization, existed well over 12,000 years ago. And what we find is, in nearby to Eridu, there was an area known as the Ubaid civilization, which was a branch of the Sumerians. And in the 1800s, they discovered a statue that depicted a serpent-like head on a being. And that was the first depiction we had that some speculated traced back to a reptilian-like root, to the origins of these gods of ancient Mesopotamia and Sumer. And many have speculated that that was part of our early origin story, or even some kind of a system of control with how these kings and bloodlines seem to disseminate down into those cultures.
Going back to ancient Near.
All right, so now we all know about the reptilians. We all know of the stories that we hear. Even we talked about it in the past where I forget where it was, but the guy was like, he went into the office or on one of the floors, there was reptilians, in the building. Reptilians are part of our government. They're shapeshifters. You've heard, I think it's Reverend Carter's story, where he talked about reptilians in a wife beater T-shirt, and that entered into his room. I mean, I've heard many, and my boy Anthony, I haven't talked to him in a while, but Canadian Awareness, he is an authentic reptilian channeler. And so he has been here before and talked about this stuff. And so now that we're thinking about it, it's almost like they are the ones who are ruling or in control of the dynasty right now over Earth, because we hear about this constantly. And like I said last night on the hotline, and let me put it up right now for anybody's watching who have not known that we have this thing. But if you ever get to a point and you want to report any type of high strangeness, there you go right there. It's a 24-hour number. And that could be anything. It could be whatever you experiencing, whether whether it's some paranormal or whether it's some unexplained mystery, or whether it's UFOs, whether it's abduction, whether it's reincarnation, whether it's some weird dreams or whatever. That's the number. Call that number. If I don't answer it, make sure you leave a message. You can still leave your detailed message that's being recorded, or make sure you leave a number and then save that number in your phone, because I'm going to call back from that number, and at least it'll be on your call ID. You know it's me, from the High Strangeness hotline. Last night, we got a phone call from a gentleman, and he told me about his crystal gazing techniques and what he does, and gazing crystals and looking into them, and just so happened he ran into another dimension through a crystals. Now, we know the power of crystals, right? I'm wearing some now. I mean, I got tiger eyes, and I have quartz crystals, and this is jade, and this is my tiger eyes bracelet and stuff, but this is a mala. But the power of crystals are real, and Billy just did a thing about it, and he talked over the God power, and he talked about crystals are alive, right? And so at this point, I'm saying this gentleman, was doing his thing, and he had a couple of run-ins where he ended up looking into him. And almost like these reptilians looked at him like, how did you get here? And why are you here? Why are you looking at us in this dimension? And so great story. I'm going to put it in the members area after I think I'm going to turn that one into a video as well. But starting this week, like I said, that calls to go into our members area for you guys to kind of hear me kind of do the same thing. And then ultimately, maybe some of you will be answering those calls, because that system will allow me to add 4 or 5 different people answering them. And we can put, you answer at this time, you answer at this time, you answer at this time, and where we can then talk to these people. But I have to make sure I vet these people who's going to talk to them very thoroughly, because a lot of these people sometimes go through some mental things, and they don't need a person that's skeptic talking to them. They need an open ear. And if you are a person with patience and open ear, and you do it, then you may just be one of the people that qualify for that. But anyway, and it's a lot of fun helping people and being there in some of the moments that they have had no one else to listen to them. So, but anyway, so if you are a member and you're, I think you want to be on the Truth Seeker, I think, which is $6.99. Make sure you upgrade immediately from the $2 one, $3 one to that one as soon as you can, because that's where that level of access is going to be, where now the value of that thing is going to be just off the chart when within a month there'll be 20, 15 different calls, and it's just going to keep adding, and you're just going to start hearing people. And then if something resonates with you, you make sure you reach out to us and say, hey, listen, he's not by himself. I'm doing that too. And so we can definitely do that as well. So, all right, so let's get into the next thing right here. And real quick, station identification. I just want you to know right now. All right, so that was station identification. You're here with Roderick Martin, and it's Wednesday live stream with High Strangeness. And yes, that is our new brand, our new trademark, actually, that we filed with the United States Patent Office, along with our High Strangeness gear. So look down in your description right now, not description, but you can look down in your, if you're on your phone, you're going to see a shopping store right there in High Strangeness. You should see some of our new gear. Go in there and get your High Strangeness weed shirt. I got some other stuff that's going to be posted in there as well. Definitely want you to support. Get your gear. If not, you can go to highstrangenessapparel.com and we'll start adding a plethora of different types of brand shirts and stuff there too. But support and get your swag, your High Strangeness swag, and represent, because we're now on a new destiny, a new journey, especially when it comes down to this content. So anyway, you just heard that though. So we done talked about this Galactic Federation, and hopefully that we have sparked your attention about all of this, and you can kind of understand that. And then once again, we're at the top of the hour, and I want to test your contributions, the chat, the cash out. This thing just keeps breaking. So if somebody want to test it again, you can kind of give me another test. Thank you, Gerald, in the rest of earlier today. But yeah, that's just the way I ask for help. Okay, that's it. So stop, the vibe of whatever. Just understand that anybody that you see on these cameras, and today have a very large channel where YouTube is compensating them for the time and everything in it, which I'm growing to be that. So I'm going to thank you all for that pretty much. So anyway, 6-member badge next to my face. Yes, Darrell, 6 months. You've been a member for 6 months, and that's a shout out, man. I appreciate it, because the one of the most gratefulest thing outside of the ones who give too is the fact the ones who are in the membership too, because then I can see, okay, well, this month this is going to come in at least, I'll feed the dog or something, just pretty much. And anyway, y'all know what I'm talking about. So let's get into, I got a few more that we're going to show. I think we just talked about the reptilians. Let's get, and this is where it gets weird or strange to me, okay? Because we talked about the reptilians. How could this type of beings, but it gets worse now. So let's go with these next two. This is where it gets kind of weird.
Myths of insect-like beings helping humanity during times of cataclysms can be found throughout the ancient world. Often referred to as mantis or mantids, insectoids, or even ant people, their influence can still be felt today. Thousands of contactees claiming to have been aboard extraterrestrial spacecrafts recount mantis-looking beings who seem to have a vested interest in our evolutionary development. If this is so, who are these insectoids that work in the shadows? And what is their influence upon humanity and our future?
We see representations of insectoids throughout Earth's history, particularly with the Egyptian culture. There was other depictions of insectoid beings in some of the Mayan cultures, with some of the cultures that we see out of Africa. So I think they were at times.
I gotta get out of town because strange shit going on, man. I cannot explain it. Okay. Okay.
Now, this is where the plot thickens. This is where I wish I had a theme music to play, because I have a hard time wrapping my brain only, because I know the rest of you are so freaking sophisticated, okay, around the thought that what they just showed me, I think our ancient ancestors had a lot of humor. They obviously knew they're going to be putting things on the wall that we're going to look at from the future, and let's just put this insect. Maybe they admired the freaking praying mantis and how powerful this insect is when it's out there preying on its prey. I don't even know how they got its name, preying. I don't know if that means, preying or whatever, or preying on the lesser species, the ants and all that. I don't know. But I have a hard time wrapping my brain around the fact that that particular creature looks like that, even not the one that's out there in the garden, but now this thing is 6 feet tall. And it is, now don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that the stories that people report seeing them in their dreams and all that is not true. I'm not saying that. I'm saying me, Roderick, and whatever, first, third person, this guy, him, me, has an issue with the fact that that animal type thing has the ability to mess with my mind, heal, destroy, drive, and is flying around in spacecraft or using portals. And if that's the case, we make all kinds of insecticide every freaking day in freaking warehouses and distribution centers designed to kill and maul and dismain all types of insects. And if that's the case, that particular insects need to be a hero and come and stop all of that. Y'all get what I'm saying? Because that's the same thing we're expecting them to do for us. Wouldn't the other mantises saying, hey, come over here and stop letting these humans spray the yard today? I know, I'm just being stupid. But the whole point I'm saying is, does anyone else have some type of thought about this like I do when it comes down to these praying mantis? I'm using my hands like this, right? Have the ability to pick, call my iPhone. You get what I'm saying? And use this thing. So, all right. News break. This is breaking news. And I ain't even a fan. But I'm not even a fan, but here.
Now, today's UFO and government disclosure updates. Let's go beyond the narrative on Why the Big Secret with Roderick Martin.
So, the Texas Rangers have won the World Series. Ain't that some shucks? Shuck the duck, quack, quack. I'm not even a baseball fan, but I was just at the stadium 2 days ago in a meeting Monday, all right, at the Lowe's, whatever that thing is over there. But they have won. I wonder if they played here at home. That would be a tremendous thing, but they're won. All right. So, So Charles says, who helped me to be able to up and talk what I did and where I went. That's why you. Oh, he's talking about me. Okay, good. All right. That's great. So he says, you, which is me, helped me to be able to open up and talk about what I did and where I went. That's why I can talk about this topic, and I thank you. I appreciate you being here as well. Charles has an amazing story that we've been keeping on ice, metaphorically, ice, right? And we're going to bring it out. We're going to bring it out in some seminars and stuff because he has a great whistleblower type story. So I just want y'all to know you're in for a treat. I'm going to try to have Dr. Haynes here Friday. See if he can get online with us so we can talk about the spacecrafts and all that stuff. I'm going to reach out to him today and see if he can plan Friday to hop on with us as well. Hope to see you in the parade. I'm not going to no ding-dong parade, Jarrell. No, not even happening. That is not happening. I'm not a baseball fan at all. Zero. But just the fact they're Texas Ranger and they're right down the street from the office, probably 20 minutes, then I'm pretty happy with that, right? They're right down the street. That's cool. And so we had the Dallas Stars. We had we got Dallas Mavericks here. We have, I don't know. Yeah. Texas Ranger. Oh, Dallas Cowboys. Yes. So, we have a lot of different stuff here in pretty much. All right. So let's get to this last one video so we can kind of show that for you all can see where we're going with this. And let's see if I can find it. Yeah, here we go. This one here baffles me as well. This particular species is weird too.
From Egypt to Babylon, India to Japan, ancient history is rich with myths and legends of feline beings that were worshipped as gods and goddesses. But were these cat-like entities more than symbolic representations of power? Could they have been an ancient race of extraterrestrials, known by some as the Urma, who came to Earth contributing to the evolution of humankind? If so, what is known about this exclusive species of extraterrestrials that were once an influence in ancient times? And why do we no longer witness their presence today?
So while we don't know as much about the felines and the Urma as we do, let's say, the Greys or the reptilians that are very prominent in pop culture and that we are gaining more and more awareness of, what we do know is that these Urma...
All right, so y'all get what I'm saying. Now, the descriptor that they had on this, that these felines are 8 to 9 feet tall, up to 660 pounds. That's a big cat, okay? Male or female is a big cat, right? But do you see some type of familiarity with what's happening? It's almost like these creatures or animalistic things rule the planet. Obviously, however they were made, designed, was saying, okay, we need to alter all this. Let's give humans their time to reign on Earth, because that cat-like stuff that they were showing, these felines, goes all the way back into Egyptian cultures and all of this stuff. And then you see how it was bipedal, right? But yet it still wasn't standing completely on its 4 feet. It still had to keep what we think it looks like. But the fact that these were intelligent type animals, and now, it's almost like the same theory. Men evolved from apes, but the apes are still here, right? If we evolve from them, then they should no longer exist. Correct? Am I correct? So how did we do that? All right. So it goes back to genetic something. Somebody, something, all right? The great creator, the higher power, God, Elijah, whatever we all think, somebody, not that way. I guess I can't go that deep, but those who, religion that has a God in it, obviously had the same format when they created ants, two-eyed puppies. My dog in there got 2 eyes, a nose, and a tongue, right? And a mouth. Same format. That somebody said, okay, this works on the humans. 2 eyes, a nose, a mouth, a tongue. But the dog doesn't talk, we don't think. With his tongue, you cut out hours, it's hard to talk. You have birds, 2 eyes, a beak, a nose, right? They got a nose on there. A duck, a fish, got 2 eyes, a nose, but it breathes underwater. Fucking rhinoceros, 2 eyes, a nose, a mouth, a tongue. This format obviously worked, but it didn't work when they were supposed to be big and tall, right? You get what I'm saying? It's the same blueprint that we all possess. And I can continue. A rat, 2 eyes, a nose, a mouth, and some teeth. I don't know about the roaches. I ain't never got close. Anybody ever got close enough to look at what the roaches were? You know, because obviously I stepped on enough. They ain't see me coming. If they got some eyeballs, it ain't working. Because I snuck up on a couple of roaches at a friend of mine's house last week, and they was walking, and I saw them from afar with my predator type eyes and skill sets of the vision that I was given, eagle eye thing, and it had a bit of big roach because I was on one side of the room and I could see this thing. And I hunted it down from behind and stepped on it as though, you know, I was a super predator, right? And the roach didn't even see me coming, right? And I know when I was creeping up on it, I was trying to tiptoe. My self it wasn't that quiet, but I got him. But anyway, what I'm saying is I don't know if he has the same features as everything else, but all these animals out there, monkeys, birds, cats, lizards, reptilians, or reptiles. I own a exotic animal store. So I had reptiles and snakes and all of this stuff, and lizards, you know, and you know, I'm just saying something was the same, and they put it all together, and we're here. So Jarrell said they look like humans up close. What, a roach? I ain't never looked at a roach up close though. I haven't eyeballed a roach from there. But anyway, if you find any value tonight, and if you new and you just got here and you want to support the channel, we do that here when I live stream to keep lights and power and all of the stuff, motivation and you know, to serve you the best that we can, and whatever value you think that you know that I offer to you. There's a Cash App. I mean, you can do YouTube, but it takes about 40. Anything you did today, like today, won't even come into December 20th, right? But if you Cash App or whatever, it hits like that. But whatever tickles your fancy, any which way, support the show the best you can. All right, so now we done discussed. Let me go back real quick, and then we'll get into the tail end of what we're talking about. So we done discussed the Galactic Federation is what we were talking about, and the thing about it was, what type of species or races or whatever, if we want to use that terminology, are in the Galactic Federation and supposed to have some type of connectivity to what happens here on Earth. And so I went through them. If you missed it, I went through the Greys was the first one we talked about. I showed a video clip. Then we had the Ebens, the biological entities that they talk about. That's in those books. That's in some of the military guides. Is what they talk about. The Greys are 3 foot tall. The Ebens or whatever are 8 or 9 feet or 7, 9 feet tall, but they look like Greys. They're just taller, and they're supposed to be 2 different species. We talked about the Andromedans and how they're supposed to be really intricate in our past. We talked about the Arturians, which they're supposed to have some remnants in history in some of the different cultures. We talked about the Syrians, which a lot of people heard about that all the way back to Sirius B, the Dogon tribe, and their impact on humanity and what we do. We talked about the Palladians, which is one of the number one folklores that comes up when we talk about extraterrestrials and people being contacted within their consciousness, the Palladians. And you'll hear a lot of starseeds that say, hey, you know, I'm from Palladium, or I am Palladium. And I'm not sure why a lot of them connect with that place. We can play it again because it's probably some kind of, I think the Palladians have the 7 stars, or it's the Syrian, but the 7 sisters, the reptilians, which I only know one person, Anthony at Canadian Awareness, who connects with the Draconians and all of that in Channel there. But anyway, the reptilians, and they're supposed to be the species that thrive off negativity. So that's probably why they're so big and hunk and thick, because we got a lot of negativity out there, you know. Then we had the mantis, which is blown away. We just talked about those, the mantis beings, which, you know, look like freaking praying mantis insects, but supposed to be able to work this iPad, these lights flying around a spacecraft. Or no, there could be moving through tunnels and channels and portals, and they're an insect, by the way. You get what I'm saying? And then we got what we just showed, the felines, which looks like a cheetah, walks like a man, I don't know, and which then takes us all the way to the Yeti, the Sasquatch, the Bigfoot, and whatever we want to call this particular creature that's still so mystical, still can't be found with all of our satellites and technology and infrared, and we just can't find them. But every now and then we get a picture of a Bigfoot or cryptid or whatever, and so the list goes on and on and on. But what we do seem to all agree on is the fact that there is some type of universal galactic group of people that have come together in the galaxy, of course, unseen to us, monitoring us, watching our every move, watching our development, in which whatever, but still claims the fact that we're not ready yet to be exposed to. And what is the recipe of ready for us as humans? I have no clue. And I've been saying this all night. Maybe I don't know shit, right? But the whole point is, whatever we're supposed to ascend to, or ascension, or wherever the time that we are, Aquarian age, or now that we were in the Piscean age, all of the different types of things that are going on, we're supposed to be heading somewhere, not in technology, but in consciousness and awareness and in all of this stuff. And once we reach that threshold that they feel that humanity has evolved, then the big reveal will begin to unfold itself. And supposedly we're able to see what is happening. It baffles me. I'm okay with the fact that maybe some grays, and once again, their backstory is the small grays are biological suits that our consciousness is wired into from other species, from other planets or galaxies that want to observe humans and then get the human experience through this biological situation that they have. So that is another challenge there. Like I say, blown away, not knowing how that particular things work. So anyway, let me look back into the chats and kind of see where we are, and if anybody is tying into the conversation. So Charles says the dogman. Yeah, we got a story from his daughter seeing a dogman at her job, and how it jumped up and ran up a hill. And we've heard the dogman stories. So we can go that. We can go to the shadow people. We can go to the hat people. We can go to, and what that really truly means is that there's a lot of high strangeness out there. Bam! This is why we at today, y'all. We had to go into this thing. High strangeness is where it is, and it is something that we need to understand that it's everywhere. Okay. And if you're a person that you have experienced some high strangeness, you need to hit me up on our high strangeness, thing there in the hotline and stuff. And let's hear about this stuff. Another part of this, if you have not, and I'm just throwing it out here, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit the subscription button. Make sure you sound those alerts. And so those are things that from there. All right. So I'm going to play the first video one more time only. This is the setup, the tail end of this conversation when we're talking about the Galactic Federation, and let's set it up. And for those of you who are familiar with the Galactic Federation or have any thoughts on it, put it in the chat so I can bring it up on the screen and help me lead into the closing part of this conversation of, is there a group protecting us? And why haven't they shown themselves? And what is their existence and what's the reason? And let's set this up with this video.
Is humankind on the verge of open extraterrestrial contact? And if so, is the current disclosure movement a first step towards revealing a collective of non-terrestrial intelligences working together within a galactic federation? For more than 60 years, alternative media has explored the idea of a galactic federation. From popular sci-fi shows to individuals who claim to be in communication with extraterrestrial intelligences, the possibility of a galactic federation as reality has been made more significant with its acknowledgement by the former general and head of Israel's Defense Ministry's Space Directorate, Chaim Eshad, when he publicly proclaimed, "Earthlings have been in contact with extraterrestrials from a galactic federation."
In December 2020, Haim Eshed, who is a retired Israeli security.
All right, so we've all heard about this guy. I talk about him all the time, and the Israeli guy, and how he, right before Trump left office, that he was talking about how at one point that the ETs feel that it is time for them to reveal themselves and that there will be a big reveal. Now, Lou Elizondo recently, if you remember, Lou Elizondo posted on his post several days ago, and one of the things he talked about is that in 2024, there's going to be some type of reveal, as though we're going to see, I don't know, I just interpret it that way. It's got to be big, that we're going to see an ET. And so Dr. Stephen Greer spoke of it in his last big press conference, that we have to get ourselves in check before 2024, like something is going to be showing itself. Everybody has this little thing of it's coming down a pipeline. It's a big reveal. I don't know if people are ready for that, and quite frankly, it's probably why we don't have this, and we have to ask ourselves. So, but that does concern me enough to make sure that Project Black, y'all remember that, the Black League of Alien Contact Knowledge that I put together, and it's gone quiet because on purpose we're working on the backside. But it is something that now I'm saying, hey, you need to push your initiative a little quicker, a little faster, to really get out to my community, the African American community, to talk about extraterrestrial life, talk about aliens and all of these things, so that it can be a common conversation. Because if there was some big reveal today, there will be a segment of my community that mentally cannot handle just the fact that there is another species on the planet visiting, of course, or maybe they could be here that are not Earthlings, right? And so that's something that is something that we're going to talk about from there. But I don't know. Now that you've seen it all, I think it's pretty much at a point where we know that we have the ability to at least comprehend that there's all these different species out there. Now, again, what do they look like? Are they walking among us? That we'll never know, right? And I've always talked about my apprehension when it came down to the David Grush whistleblower things, except when he started testifying all of these abandoned spacecraft, right, that has been found parked somewhere where somebody done got out of it. And if that's the case, whoever the occupant or driver or person that was being, or thing that was transported in this thing, obviously is not sitting where they are. And if they didn't get hurt in the vehicle crash and it was abandoned because it was in full intact space traveler vehicle, where is this person, thing, who, she, what? Where are they? What do they look like? How are they able to blend in with our species? And we have no knowing that they walk among us. My thing is this. I think we have come to a point that, because of all of the phone calls that I get, or people that say they saw somebody's eyes roll, split, like there was some reptilian being or some type of whatever. I forget the guy's name, and man, was this on my lips, but he's passed on now. But I watched one of his seminars, and he was talking about how he speaks all the time, and that there are interplanetary travelers that approach him after his seminars, that they're out there in the seminars. He was like, hey, they're out here now. They watch me. They approach me. And when they approach me, they always be like, yeah, we're from a different planet. But the way he talks about it, if they're able to sit out in the seminar and watch us, then obviously they take on the form and shape of humans every day. And so he talked about that they are here. They've been here. Now, I believe that we do have space visitors. I do believe that we have some type of people, species, or whatever that's monitoring us. And I do believe they walk among us. And I do believe they take the shape and form that we cannot notice them. I'm not talking about shape shifting, but I'm talking about what we always talk about is, what do they look like? And so if you get down to what do they look like, then you could possibly go into the scripture of Genesis chapter 1, verse 26. Let's make man in our image. Let's make them in the likeness of ourselves. And if they're in the likeness of ourselves, meaning us look like them, then it's perfectly, plausible that they could be walking among us, blending right in, because while we're looking for something different, then the different is already before our eyes, and then maybe it's just in a form or shape or something else. And so that's my soapbox of all of that, right? That's my thing of throwing it out there. But at the end of the day, it still begs the differ of who and what. So, but when we start talking about the Galactic Federation, what we just talked about this whole hour and a half so far, is that these are different species. They have different looks, feline looks. We're talking reptilians. You're talking blue people, tall people, short grays, big grays. We're talking felines. We're talking insectoids. And so that's what makes this thing so far-fetched. But we've seen it in Star Wars, right? We've seen it in Star Wars. His vision, Luke, or whatever his name is, the guy who designed it, Lucasfilms or George Lucas, that's his name. If that's his name, I think that's his name, but it is his name. Is that he had a vision of that. Remember the bar scene, when they walked into this bar scene, you had this crazy animals beating on drums, and you had, all these different species drinking, one-eyed, big-eyed, blob-looking thing. So it was like all of these different species, and they didn't come in pairs, of course. Maybe a couple of them did, but then it was just a weird universal thing. And so, I grew up on that with the notion that we have all these different species out here, and maybe that's what it was from that. I don't know. Dee says she wanted to hear about the ibis, the head or ego-headed being. See, the list just keeps going on and don't stop. I don't know. I didn't even get to those people, Dee, when it comes down to this. So even the Syrian talking about fish-headed people. Remember the Dogon tribe? They was talking about fish people. Really? Right? Could you imagine that? But then when we start looking into the movies, though, you're talking about Black Panther and, Wakanda or whatever forever, when whatever the guy came out of the water, they live down there in the oceans. You got Aquaman and their movie showing there's a whole civilization down there, and they're going to come up to the Earth's surface, and they pissed off. Really? And so it just amazes me. So Dee said that's who she had contact with. So her testimony is that she had contact with the head or ibis head, which is our ego-headed beings. Now, there are ego-headed beings, and we've seen all that in Egyptian cultures. We've seen a lot of head dressing, even in the Indian culture. Some of the tribal stuff, they wore, I think bird-like headdresses in some of their ceremonial gear. So that's not uncommon, and maybe the remnants of that came from that. It just all depends when we look back into it. But that's still those conversations that we would have to have and really think deep into, and wonder, or one would wonder what is happening there. All right, so I'm gonna look back over here into the chat a little bit. Bella says the mass technology is very advanced. Even the Simpsons shown it. I've got some few people in our audience and people that I've talked to that says that the Simpsons show have done a lot of premonition of things, that they have done a lot of what's the word I'm looking for, predictions in some of their episodes. And so, but it still make you wonder when you get down to all of this and how some of these particular shows. I always thought Hollywood was hooked into the future, or that's where the entertainment value comes from. And like the Air Force, that was part of the remember the Stargate. And even though the original TV series of it actually had a lot of cameos from the Air Force, and they were saying that a lot of those stories, a lot of those episodes, a lot of their back end stories came from stories of our United States Air Force. And so one of their plans was to put the information out there so that if somebody made the discovery, I would think you can go, oh, yeah, I've seen this. And they go, oh, you saw that in the movie. You're a lunatic. You didn't see that in real life. You watched Stargate. So that was just one of their ways to do that. And so I think when you get down to this, and I've talked about the ant people, Darrell, that led the Native Americans into caves to avoid a catastrophic events. Yes. I've talked about the ant people before. Actually, there's a video that we discussed that probably several months ago, if y'all look it up in the live stream. But yes, in one of those video clips that I showed tonight that stopped right before they talk about the ant people and how they were instrumental in saving Earth. And so once again, we're talking about some type of insectoid beings with the intelligence that they have, walking bipedal, of course, very big, humanistic size, but they were insects, but had the intelligence to lead and to counsel the human being, which is the apex predator of Earth. Right, we're the apex predator. I mean, so who sits us down and counsel, and what technology advancements, or maybe we're looking too much into it that it's not about technology, it's about consciousness, right? Maybe we don't need the guns and machinery. We just need our minds, and collectively our minds is powerful enough to do any and all things. Which I was talking to psychic John Russell, which I had him on the show. He's a friend of mine. And there was a time, he tells a story that there was a time that humans in used to heal each other, move rocks and things. They would get around in a circle, and they all would meditate with the energy and consciousness of whatever they wanted to focus on. And that's how they would move things. In fact, that was supposed to have been how some of these pyramids were constructed, or some of these tons and hundreds of tons of rocks, which we, by the way, today have no equipment, no power, no technology to move some of the rocks that you see at these pyramids, and structure them in such a way, that these pyramids are designed with this, geometry. I don't know, but however they're just made. But supposedly we don't have the technology. We definitely don't have equipment to move some of those rocks that they're big. So supposedly this was done with everybody focusing their mind and energy and consciousness on this particular rock or whatever. And through the power of that, it was able to be moved as the same way they would heal human body. So, I don't have nothing to test that theories or hypotheses of what's going on, but I will say, hey, we all know that there are stranger things that have happened out here, right? And so this is why we're here when it comes down to this. And so, yeah. Someone says, wait till they arrive on the TV film industry. Cameras are powerful. Yeah. And then you have Stargates are real. We have free energy. They just, yeah. I mean, yeah, we know that. I think I think our assumptions, all of our assumptions are pretty much accurate, right? Of what we do know. And I think at this point, we just have to come to a more of a, as truth seekers, get things put into more reality of where we are to determine what is happening from there. All right. So with that being said, we talked about what we talked about. We've been here a couple of hours, and I think that's enough there. I will give a last call for not alcohol, but I'll give a last call for anyone to support the show tonight. And like I said, it'll be so appreciative. We'll be back here Friday. I'm going to try to reach out to Dr. Haynes and see if we can get him on it Friday night, get a couple more people on Friday night so we can have some panel discussions and topics and have some great topics there. But in the meantime, like I said, if you didn't go over to Forbidding Knowledge, the video that I posted yesterday, and it was about, hearing your dead spirits from the grave, and also seeing these images in the clouds. That this a story that we had. It was one of our High Strangeness calls that called in, told her story. I just turned it into video. Very interesting. Had some of the people there. I want you to check it out, because if you like that, this is what you're going to start seeing here. Starting in the next day or two, I'm uploading new videos covering some of these calls and stories, since there's abundance of stories and content coming into our 800 number, which I'm going to put back on the screen before we get out of here. And that 800 number is where, if you have some type of high strangeness yourself, you can post that. Now, I also took the time, listen to me, everyone, and I need your help. I hope you all are hearing me right now. I put this image, okay, this image right here, high strangeness, experience high strangeness, that kind of like aliens. I put this particular one, if you kind of see more of like a paranormal type, And then this UFO one, counter. All of these is on the community page right now of the YouTube channel. You can right click and save those nicely done, high quality images. Please post them on your social profiles. If you don't mind, support us, support those, post them so people know there's a place they can call and we can start building the content of what we're doing. But I need a collective effort, okay? And now it's time for us to expand and do some great things, okay? And so I'm asking you if you could not resist the offer of helping to build what we're going with this with High Strangeness. There was a lot of detail moving from Why the Big Secret to High Strangeness, only because there are so many people dealing with so many things. So we're going to be focusing on those two things, High Strangeness and Project Black. Those are the two things we're going to be doing. We're going to be good at what we do. We're going to be the best I am. And so definitely it's time to crowdsource. If I cannot, and you may not have the wherewithal to say, Roderick, every time we come on here, I'm going to give you some type of donation. That's fine. But your time will work even perfect that you can go and right click those images, save them to your phone, post it on Instagram, Twitter, wherever, social media we can do, Facebook, put them out there, put a little caption. You can put the URL, which will be youtube.com/@ Why the Big Secret. That handle is going to stay there until the trademark is gone through. But in the meantime, help me share, help me put this content out here so we can do this as a group and as a collective. And I'm seriously, you won't be disappointed in what you're already getting. As a final note, if you watch the video, first of all, let's go with this now. How many of you yesterday or already today caught the video show that I uploaded to Forbidden Knowledge yesterday? Last night, which was airing all day today. Put it in a chat right now. How many of you have already watched that? If you have not, go check it out, and you will hear one of the calls that came in where a woman, her son passed, and she was spiritually connected. She connected to him and asked for a sign, and literally he showed her a sign. And we talked about that in the video. You will hear her actual voice. I put part of the recorded call integrated within the video itself and do that. So anybody seen that yesterday? If not, you definitely got to check it out. It was just me trying to do a new style, which is what we're going to be doing. Seagrave said he did. It was great. D says she have. That's great. So where I'm going with this is for those of you who've seen it, what you heard is not everything. That call was 30 minutes. Tomorrow, or no longer than Friday, that call in its entirety will be in the back office of the membership area. So you will be able to go in there and just hear it raw form. So you'll hear small talk, back talk, but because I am working and getting to know people. So you're going to hear that. Okay. So that is something that I want you all to know from there as well. So y'all give a let me make sure we do this here. Yeah, so that's a shout out to Barbara, who sent us a contribution as well to the Cash App. I really appreciate you and all of you, and hopefully others could do the same. But what I'm saying is, so that call is going to be, I'm going to put the call in the members area so you can hear it as an entirely. And because I have been trying to work on how to make that area value, because some of you are really supporting the show with that. And it dawned on me like a ton of bricks. I got all these calls sitting there in the archives, and I listen to them. I'm like, how can I turn them into video stories? We're going to probably get some people reenact some of these stories. So I'm putting together some budget there, let you know. Yeah, and good. Seagrave's getting them posters. Thank you. Get those posters off the community page. I put them on there. Put also in the comment that you are sharing it. That way other people can see, and we can create, where other people are saying, oh, social proof is what it's called, that other people are sharing it, because that's going to be, that is the catalyst to what we're doing. If we can reach a lot of show profiles and people know that this exists, and then they can be also guests on the show, let's do that as well. But anyway, the main audios are going to be going in there. You're going to enjoy it. You're going to seriously enjoy the conversation. Like I say, last night I got one that was just crazy calls in a great way, so to speak. When I say crazy, it's just high strangeness, not a negative sense, because I do support all who do make these calls. It takes a lot of courage for people to call us and do those things. All right. With that being said, it's been a let me see here. I will think it has been. I'm just looking for my thing here. Wow. Maybe not. Maybe not. Okay. All right. So we're coming to a close. And hopefully that you all are having a good week, where I know we're at the hump day, and that is something to think about as well. Another part of this is to really get this UFO thing is growing. We got a lot of stuff that's coming out where people are now giving out more information. More people are seeing UFOs. But like I said, we're now experiencing high strangeness. Okay. We're going to get a lot of high strangeness right now. And that is all these other phenomenal things that are going on that we're going to cover. If you know nobody in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, make sure they can come by the studios. We're going to start filming them here. I'm ready. We got the equipment. We're ready to roll, and pretty much from there. And so let's get ready to rumble. Let's get ready to do some stuff. Anyway, it's been a plum, please, and pleasure of each and every one of you and supporting the show. And we will be back Friday night. I'm going to have a few guests like we did last week, where we'll do some panels and some conversation. If there are conversation you want us to talk about, send me an email at contact@whythebigsecret.com on what you think we should talk about this Friday. If you have a webcam or good phone connection, internet connection, good lighting, you want to be part of the conversation, let me know. And let's get our community and do something special on Friday. Even though it's Freaky Friday, let's bring some people in and doing what we're doing. So I'm excited about that. And like I say, just to give thank you. And so I'm just just kind of make sure I'm covering everybody before we go, because I'm going to get to the house. And I love you. I love each and every one of you. And as I always said, if you are a hater and you watching me and you hate me, I can love you regardless. Even if I never meet you, I love you. But if you're a hater and you continuously hating on me, then I want you to know you're a fan. You're a fan. All right. I'll see y'all Friday night, man. I'll see y'all Friday. Love y'all. I really do. Support the show if you want, right there at the top. Get your shirts. Get your swag. Get your swag. Look down on in the app and get that swag. Get the swag. Yeah, make sure. All right. How do I end this thing? Okay, here we go. Good night, y'all.